Last Pint Productions presents the New Way podcast. The New Way contains adult content, and new episodes are released most Wednesdays. So back off, man. We're professionals. Listener discretion is advised.
So you were in Vietnam, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah?
Were you in the shit?
Yeah, I was in shit.
Last night, Darth Vader came down from planet Vulcan and told me that if I didn't take Lorraine out, that he'd melt my brain.
Here's how you get him. He pulls a knife, you pull a gun. He sends one of yours to the hospital, you send one of his to the morgue.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
Everybody wants to be naked and famous. Everybody wants to be just like me. I'm naked.
Will you help teach me about this? What is it? A new way?
Hello, and welcome once again to the New Way podcast, where we break down pop culture so you don't have to. I am joined by my two besties in the universe right now, Mr. Benjamin Scott Wilson and Mr. Nicholas Santa Croce. Gentlemen, it's been a minute. How are you doing?
I'm doing
Great.
I
was good. Normally you go one by one, Matt, and then we both have a time.
I know, and I did this on purpose, and it went exactly how I wanted it to go.
Honestly, I'm sad I'm not in the studio with you, Matt. But
It's
my kid's birthday tomorrow, and I have to wake up at like 5:30 in the morning to get the Dunkin' Donuts. So I was like, it's probably better that I call in on this one.
Well, and
yeah,
I literally wrote this into the intro of the episode for both of you. So for our listeners out there right now, I don't know when you're going to actually listen to this episode, but two cataclysmic events happened today in different parts of the world. One to Benjamin Scott Wilson and one to Nicholas Santa Croce. One was an earth-shaking, literal movement of the world.
Which was my kids going to middle school.
Which was Ben's kids going to medical school.
Hi, Dr. Rick.
Middle school. And
we
the
need
other
12
was
C's. He's a Gatorade stat.
and the other was Nick had a little bit of an earthquake in Pasadena. So
I mean, it was a substantial earthquake.
I mean, I didn't see it on the news.
I mean,
Well, I saw everyone posting
it was on the news.
Oh, but your news.
A friend of the podcast, Brian Willis, texted me to see if I was alive. He saw it in the news.
Oh, wow.
I immediately came back and was talking with Beth, and she was like, "No, I heard about it from everyone."
Okay.
Well, the funny thing is, like we're used to earthquakes, right? But generally speaking, a lot of times it's like Bakersfield or it's an hour away, and you still kind of feel it. But this one was literally in my backyard. It was on the border of Pasadena and Eagle Rock, so it felt like a bomb went off in the front yard. There are two types of earthquakes. Like there's one that kind of creeps up slowly and you sway back and forth. It gets a little more aggressive than it fades out, right?
That's called the Weinstein. And then you got the Cosby, right? Yeah.
Well, it's a little more sudden, even if you can believe it. It's like bam, and then it shakes up and down aggressively as opposed to side to side.
The Cosby, yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what I was right.
Did you lose anything in your did anything fall in your house?
My uncle was like, "How are your collectibles?" His first question. He assumed I was alive because I was texting him, and then he checked on my Ninja Turtles and like Thor helmet and things. My bike did fall over. I will rebuild, but it wasn't mounted to the wall or anything. It was just like.
It's so funny because Nick's uncle, I've never actually met Nick's uncle.
Tim's great.
Yeah, really?
Well, no, I've never met Tim, but however, he's constantly like, "Hey, you should follow Tim on social media, on everything. Tim will be your friend."
I'm not gonna lie, I follow Tim. It's great. It's wonderful.
Well, I would say his content is actually subpar, if I'm being honest.
It's not subpar. It's just not a lot. It happens sometimes, and it's fine. But it's
really?
not. It's not.
I can't even remember the last thing he posted.
There's a lot of cat content.
Oh, you're talking about Facebook?
Yeah.
Okay, old man. I'm talking about.
I assume that Tim was relatively seminal in your life.
Oh
yeah,
man.
big time.
Because
We're
where else is he posting?
Well,
I'm sorry. Is he on,
not posting anywhere
Is
else.
he
That's what
on
I'm saying.
Truth Social, like the pinnacle of new social media? What
I'm
is
saying,
that?
like most elder millennials, Instagram is my platform of choice, even though that is now woefully outdated. But
It
even
sure
before
is.
that comes Facebook.
Yeah.
That's boomer territory.
Guys, I got 4 years on you. I'm firmly in the right camp. I'm just gonna say right now.
Well, you're on the TikToks.
I prefer MySpace.
It's
Friendster.
Friendster was great. R.I.P. Friendster. That was one of the best. So
I met my wife on fucking OkCupid. Okay, man. I'm like,
Okay, Cupid was a pretty good success rate. I feel like.
I mean, I have dissatisfied several women from OkCupid, so it is lucrative from my standpoint, not from theirs, but it's really good.
But it was advantageous to know that they were ENTJ before you went to the Arby's.
By the way, I have still not bothered to learn what that means, but I'm always like, oh yeah, me too.
I don't know.
I
if
always
that's
just say
actually
me
right.
too.
Is ENTJ extrovert?
It's
Is that a real thing?
Nick, whatever they post, whatever it means, I just go, yeah, that's really what I'm attracted to. And I don't know the difference between all. I know vaguely some of the concepts behind it, but I'm not going to learn the minutia, and I'm not going to ever be like, oh, you're an ENTFPT cruiser, and turn them down. It makes no sense from my standpoint. So I just accept whatever they say.
wow, it's been 3 weeks and we're already off the
It's
fucking
been-
rails here.
What's even funnier
Did you
is
say ENCPT Cruiser?
Yeah, he did.
no, I
He
did not. Someone misheard that. So what's even funnier is I have 10 times the content in my preamble notes than I do in my actual notes for the content of the episode, because it's been a long time since we have been together, and there are a lot of things I would like to talk about.
We got some monster pop culture announcements between D23 and
we sure did. Well, first of all, we kind of hinted at it a moment ago, but Ben, how was it sending the girls off to middle school today? Like, was that I had a genuine question for you. Like, I think when you, like, with kids, at least kind of how I feel about your kids is like, you're kind of waiting for them to cultivate their personalities, and you're like, okay, then they get there, but then it goes a little bit too quick once they have cultivated their personalities, and you feel like it's going faster than you maybe want it to happen. Are you, like, kind of happy where they're at and where their growth is as a parent?
Fuck them kids. They're spoiled.
They are pretty spoiled. You guys just made new bedrooms for both of them.
I'm really just happy that they're going to an arts, to the best middle school in the state of Florida, which is a liberal arts heavy, arts centric school, and they seem to have really enjoyed their first day. So that's all I really care about.
I also have to say, I watched their auditions for Aladdin, which is being directed by an actor that I worked with.
A friend.
I was really blown away by Margot's Genie audition. Like, Luna gets a lot of the shine for just being the theater kid kind of the group, but I really felt that Margot's Genie was, like, on point. Like, it really, really was fantastic.
I had lots of comments from people who saw Moana, and because she was Chief Chewie in Moana, and
my mother couldn't stop talking about Margot opening up the show, and she
and
totally
how like, how big she was, and I mean, she made herself big, and I was like, wow, that's for the kid who's not maybe necessarily the theater kid.
Yes.
That was pretty impressive.
No, I watched both those auditions, and I really, I was very, very surprised in a great way with both their auditions. Also, I love that they're being cast as two of, like, the most fun roles to play in that show that are basically replacing
and they're together in every scene, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, like they're basically, how do you, like, not do a poo on stage because we're gonna blow all of our budget on the traveling
animatronic monkey. We
Yeah.
can't have the animatronic monkey,
which I think is
instead
great.
we're just gonna split them into 3 friends.
Yeah, which is awesome.
And having the Aladdin's 3 friends. and they're all wisecracking and
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's
you can't-
fantastic.
You can't have a monkey there. What if Peter Gabriel shows up? You know,
He will hit it
mess.
with a sledgehammer.
no,
are you? Oh God,
What?
Matt, you blew it up, you son of a bitch!
I did. I'm so
You
sorry.
son of a bitch!
Anyway,
But I have to give it to you because only a Peter Gabriel fan would know enough to then torpedo that shock the monkey.
nice shot.
So I have a question for both of you because I am not a video game person, but this is very big pop culture news right now. Maybe the most monumental failure in cinema has been released just recently, which is the film adaptation of the video game series Borderlands. What do you guys think about this? Where did this go wrong? I don't know enough about it other than the trailer played like a parody of Guardians of the Galaxy. Like it pandered so much to it. What went wrong with this?
Well, I mean,
Nick?
I mean, I've heard whispers that like Eli Roth came into it and started talking to the developers and saying, you know, what I want to do is I want to bring in a little bit of this movie and a little bit of that movie and a little bit of this movie and a little bit of that movie. When you kind of have the world kind of laid out for you.
Did you guys play this? Did you guys play this? Okay.
I played Borderlands and Borderlands 2.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Borderlands. It popularized 2D or 3D shell animation.
Yeah.
It's led to some pretty clever cosplay. It's like a combination of 3D and 2D looking in style. But on top of that, they had a really good first person shooter gameplay. When you have these large sandbox games, there's a ton of like fetch quests where in between the story where you got to level up, and they're always more or less the same thing, and it could be a death knell for a game. But one thing that Borderlands was so good about is these throwaway little side quests were sometimes funnier or more entertaining than the stuff happening in the main story. So you'll throw in, you'll put in 50, 60 hours, 70 hours before you beat the game. If you're a completionist like me.
So, the irony is, I don't think Eli Roth is a bad filmmaker.
Not at all. That's what's most interesting to me about all of this.
And actors love working with him. I mean, Kate Blanchett loved working with him. Jack Black loved working with him.
Oh no, Jack Black is canceled. Then we don't talk about him.
No, he's
anymore.
not. He's now uncanceled, and so is Kyle. It's fine, Nick.
Okay.
It's fine.
It's all okay.
No, that was way down on my list, but I don't want to get into it.
What the whole Borderlands thing screams to me is that it seemed so opportune, like you have this ragtag, and again, it's Guardians of the Galaxy, you have this ragtag group of people, you throw a lot of money at it, and maybe a director that doesn't care that much about the property, like Eli Roth, who cares a lot more about something like The House with a Clock in its Walls as a novel than Borderlands as a video game. And
I don't know. I think it's simpler. I think it's way simpler. I think
the thought process is just you throw a bunch of good actors at it and hope it sticks.
And I mean, that can work out a lot of times too. I don't know. I think it's simpler, man. Like, I didn't see any promotion for it. I didn't know that it was even opening up. The first time I found out it had come out literally was this morning when I was reading, it got 0% and it was one of the biggest bombs of the weekend. And I didn't even know it had hit theaters, right? And on top of that, you're not talking about a franchise like Fortnite. You're not talking about a franchise that is like going to rope in a large contingent of people. It's popular, but it's not like, Borderlands, we got to mark our calendar for that. It's not a Wolverine, Deadpool, circle your calendar cinematic event.
And I think the biggest issue for it is it's coming out in the shadow of Wolverine, Deadpool, and they needed at least 2 months outside of that juggernaut, pardon the pun, to do it.
Meanwhile, the Blake Lively movie that came out this past week. They made like $50 million fucking dollars,
which has
And
got
so-
a great marketing campaign behind it. I don't
Also, thanks to Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, okay. Nick hit it right. Nick absolutely hit where I'm going with that as well. is
America's darling.
That
I mean,
Ryan
Borderlands
Reynolds
should have just casted Ryan Reynolds,
Guys,
and then they'd be great.
Guys,
and then Deadpool could talk about Borderlands.
I have been on the Ryan Reynolds bandwagon since fucking X-Files in 1999.
It's not. It has nothing to do with the bandwagon. It just
All right,
means that
we
Ryan
all, listen,
Reynolds.
Ben, listen, stop for a second. I can't let. Listen, we all watched Two Guys, a Girl, in a Pizza Place. Okay, we all watched it. Don't pretend like you were the
And
first
some
one
of us didn't wait until it was Two Guys and a Girl, and they dropped the pizza
Yeah,
place,
they
and we
dropped
were
the
like,
fucking
because
pizza
that was
place.
too avant-garde to have a fucking pizza place in there.
Speaking
And you
of
know
being
what? It's like when they dropped those two other
cancelable-
bakers. God damn it. We're still doing
I was
the
gonna
bit
say-
in the very intro. We're still doing the bit's over, Ben. It's like the Cinnamon Toast Crunch bakers. I like them as a threesome, and they unceremoniously dropped the other two. Okay, I'm done.
Wait,
No, I was just saying, and speaking of cancelable, you should watch Waiting again.
Oh, I
Great
still
movie.
enjoy Waiting.
I love that
And
movie.
I probably
I saw it in the
I mean,
theaters.
I probably saw Van Wilder in college 20 times. Easy. I rewatched that.
Van
so many
Wilder
times.
is why I was so upset about any Fletch reboot that did not star Ryan Reynolds, because I thought he was so much the heir apparent to doing a better Chevy Chase than Chevy Chase
Oh
could
yeah,
do it.
no, we had this.
Yeah.
I think we had this conversation when I introduced you to the Proto Men
Yes.
at Ben's bachelor party. I think this is literally one of like the first conversations we ever had. It vividly plays in my mind every night when I close my eyes and go to sleep. I replay it in my head.
I want to slightly backtrack, because first of all, Nick, you are absolutely correct that Ryan Reynolds used the Deadpool press train to push Blake Lively's movie, and literally was like,
And it
I'm
worked.
so good, I'm gonna sell this other movie that I didn't know. Ben, I did not know about this movie until Ryan Reynolds showed up interviewing her co-star on some soundbite, and I was like, I didn't even know this movie existed. I had no clue about it. But my question for you guys are like
double its budget in the first
Yeah.
weekend.
and you guys do a lot of gaming, and you're much more involved in that community than I am. And I've been watching a bunch of people bitching about Borderlands, being like, well, because video games don't make for good like movies. And I'm like, we just had The Last of Us. Like, we just had one of the best TV shows that has
Still
been
have The
released.
Last of Us. It's
I,
coming
no,
back out.
I don't understand this idea that people still will be like, oh, well, it's a video game, that's why it didn't work. What is the difference, in your opinion, between the approach to The Last of Us and the approach to Borderlands? Like, what is going wrong in this industry?
It's the property. It's absolutely the property.
That's an
Because-
interesting standpoint.
Because Borderlands is this idiosyncratic kind of mishmash of characters that very, very much resembles something that already exists out there.
So it's the John Carter's property, right? Where something comes
Yeah,
out
no,
that has
exactly.
been
Exactly.
done
It's that
other
same
ways.
thing.
Okay.
It's like how John Carter, which isn't a bad movie, by the way, I'll stand by that. How it was trying to be Star Wars, and it was so close to Star Wars that no one wanted to watch it.
Even though it came before, it predated
No,
Star Wars.
I haven't seen
originally. Yeah.
Borderlands. I
Okay.
want to see Borderlands. I want to be able to judge it honestly.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling I'm probably going to walk out of the movie and just be like, it wasn't that great, but it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not. I
I mean,
guarantee you, it's not the catastrophe people are making. it out to be.
that's the other side of this, and I'm always amazed where like a movie can come out and it can be not a great movie, but even when it's not a great movie, it's got 15% of the audience. It's like, I'm kind of into this, but this movie has just universally been dismantled by every human being that has seen it, which is bizarre to me.
At the end of the day, you can pick at it and you can explain it away a million different ways. But at the end of the day, it's still got to be a good movie, right? And that is the final nail in the coffin. But I do have one other theory.
By the way, Nick,
I-
can you remove the sunglasses filter? It's really messing with my brain
No,
right now.
no, I will not.
All right. thank you.
So when you talking about a movie that has like 100 $120 million budget, and you don't see any promo.
Yeah.
To me, that's like, oh shit. We spent a ton of money on a pile of garbage. We're not going to put another penny towards this loss. And I think that's really kind of what happens. You allot a certain amount of money, and you start to feel, oh, this is going to bomb. You don't want to flush a bunch down the toilet. You just hope it's going to get good word of mouth. Make what you can make back, and forget it ever happened. Or if you're Warner Brothers, you just shelve it and
I'll slightly
fucking August.
I will slightly argue against that, and that I watched.
I'm shocked.
I have gone to
devil's advocate me, baby. Do it.
I went to enough movies this year that I have seen the Borderlands trailer on a big screen multiple times. What I did not see that stuck in my brain was a release date. And I think absolutely what happened with them is that Deadpool and Wolverine was casting such a shadow on them that they were almost embarrassed to be like, yeah, we're coming out like 2 weeks after Deadpool and Wolverine and whatever it is. But I will, the one argument I will make is I saw that trailer many times because I remember every time I'd see it, I'd be like, it looks interesting. It looks like Guardians of the Galaxy, like it's trying a little bit too hard for that, but I didn't hate it. I thought it looked like an interesting Mad Max.
I liked the trailer too.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
But here's the thing.
What they should have done is gone the counterculture or counter programming route and done the 3 weeks after Deadpool Wolverine, which is what Alien Romulus is doing.
Which is on my list of things to talk about because Ben and I are going to see this week.
Here's the thing, like we're all excited for Romulus, right? And the popcorn bucket.
Are we? Am I?
Wait, stop. There's a fuckable popcorn bucket. I don't know about
this.
Well,
no, actually, it's very phallic shaped because it's the alien head.
That's so fuckable, Nick.
Well, you can use the alien bucket to fuck the Wolverine bucket.
Or just ourselves, Nick. Why do you have to be so? Why does it have to only be Wolverine that can get fucked? We can get fucked by Romulus. Ben's definitely getting fucked by Romulus this week.
Listen. Just picture the back of the alien head.
I'm with you.
Yeah, you got it.
I got it right there.
You got it.
Yeah,
you got it.
Yeah.
But okay, just before we move on, right? That's a big tentpole. We're all excited. I don't remember seeing the Borderlands trailer in the theaters. I'm not going to the movies as much as I used to. And I think that if you want a real answer, Matt, like not fucking around, not trying to be funny, I think that okay. So a friend of the podcast, Mike Marani, texted us. He goes, "Do you want to see Beetlejuice opening weekend?" Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm gonna get tickets, right? I'm gonna get tickets, right? $27 each.
Oh, what?
Okay.
What?
Yeah.
Where are you seeing this in space?
I think no one could hear me scream. The thing about it is, I think he did end up getting IMAX tickets, but even so,
$27.
Right? I know. So maybe it's not like that anywhere. I mean, that's just LA price gouging, and every theater is different. But it's undeniable. It's undeniable that we experienced this huge shift during COVID, and at first people were afraid to go to the movie theaters at all. Right now, with the success, when you look at $1 billion R-rated film, we're not.
They went
so
to
much,
Twisters.
Yeah, right. Listen, it's not like we're not unwilling to go anymore, but there's a slight hangover. And when you couple that with $27 tickets, Borderlands is just something that you're gonna catch streaming. If you have interest, you're just gonna catch it when it's streaming. I know that's what I thought.
Honestly, I'm on the same boat as you, Nick, because I was just like, I kind of want to see Borderlands, but I'm fine waiting on that one.
I mean, at this point, we are just more judicious with our wallets and our time.
The money wasn't an issue. I'll be 100% honest. I saw that.
Good for you, Mr. Moneybags. Money isn't an issue. Hear that, ladies? You hear that, ladies?
This is where I wish we could use a soundboard, but I can't. But I wanted. Good for you.
I'm gonna put that clip on OkCupid.
Really want that. Oh, good for you right now. No, I think.
Yeah, you deserve it. You deserve it wholeheartedly.
You're not wrong. But I'm very, very rich and single. Anyway, so I saw that trailer a lot of times. the most honest reaction I can give you is that I honestly did not know when it was coming out in any sort of capacity that made me aware that, like, when it opened this weekend and everyone was like, oh boy, this movie bombed. I'm like, oh, it came out? I didn't know. I probably was not going to go see it anyway, but like...
If your enthusiasm level isn't somewhere in the Deadpool and Wolverine, you need to know when the release date is.
Or
have a shot.
But so I'm going to argue the slight counterpoint to that is a movie that I saw, and I apologize.
Just to so you know, you don't have to counterpoint everything I say. You can occasionally agree.
No, I do. It's on my list of things to do during the podcast. I forget some of them sometimes, but
they antagonize me at every turn.
It is, but also this one's going to get turned on Ben Wilson, and I apologize because I really, really don't want to talk about this until Ben actually sees this movie.
Sweet innocent Benjamin Scott Wilson, just here trying to have a good time.
I saw the best marketed movie of the year in the last month, which is Longlegs. And I think the marketing campaign behind that movie is so much better than the actual movie. No
spoilers. That's still on my list.
That's why I'm being very. I did not want to give any opinion on this. I know Ben is. I know. I'm so sorry, Ben. I'm so sorry.
Oh wow.
I didn't know how to do this. Wow. Otherwise, I know here it's gonna have. He's opening up. He's opening up a full beer. He's gonna pour a full stout down his throat in one sip right now.
Oh my god. What have you done?
I didn't love Longlegs, but I will say this. I have not.
So you're saying the director did a reverse ZZ Top. They had long legs. They didn't know how to use them.
It's 100%. God damn, that is fucking great, Nick. That is one of the greatest things I've ever. That's the only thing on par with their actual marketing campaign.
That's my favorite
brilliant
joke.
God damn, that was good. Jesus, everyone, just listen to that joke for an hour and a half. And don't go see Longlegs, and you'll be great. You'll have a great time.
Click the 15 seconds behind button twice.
So good.
And listen to that joke again.
And listen, Longlegs is not a bad movie. It was not the movie I wanted it to be. Right. That's all it is. But the marketing campaign was so fucking on point for that movie. They did it better. They took everything that people learned from Blair Witch and from Paranormal Activity. They took all of the horror movie things and made it so good.
On the Blair Witch marketing.
Yeah.
Which is a fantastic book.
But it took 2 decades
they
for
wrote
someone
the
to
book
do it
on
as
viral
well.
marketing, and then someone wrote a book on them writing the book.
And that movie is Longlegs, which is, but I will say this about the movie. I did not love it. I have not gone probably more than 48 hours without making a Longlegs reference at some point in my life to the people that I saw it with, because it sticks with you one way or another. It either sticks with you, and this is amazing. It's a success. I agree, Nick. 100%, it's a success.
That kind of reminds me of like House of a Thousand Corpses, Rob Zombie's movie.
Yeah,
where I was like, I don't like this movie at all, but for some reason I kept thinking about it, and it just stuck with me for a long time afterwards.
I don't think I've spent almost any of my my adult life on Reddit, and I'm newer to Reddit than most people. Like it was probably during COVID that I kind of came around on Reddit, and I really don't do a lot of like shit posting on there, and I don't know why it is. I am subscribed to the Longlegs subreddit, and I'm on there. Like I'm watching it all the time, and I don't post a lot, but in my head I post a lot. Like there are people saying these like things about it, and I'm like, what fucking movie were you watching? What is? I don't fucking understand what you're talking about. This is so ridiculous.
Did you call the phone number?
No, I know about it. I because I'm on the Reddit, the subreddit. I know about the phone number and all the things. I'm in the lore. That's the worst part about this. I've gone so far down the rabbit hole. I know things about that movie I don't care to ever know, but I'm in there. And that's why I will say it is 100% a success in what it did. Whether I liked it for the reasons it set out for me to like it, I am obsessed with it nonetheless, which is, I think, a success in any movie.
in a
really.
year when you come to grips with your emotions and you work it out,
Yeah.
it'll be your favorite movie of all time in 365 days.
You know what?
Yeah.
Well, I'm just going to say, whenever I get to a podcast where we talk about the most influential movies that you wouldn't think like influenced me, that's going to be number one on my list. So anyway, guys, our topic. No.
No. Well, hey, before we talk about that,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
First off, before we talk about the obvious,
Well, we got to
alien
talk
in the
about
room,
Tim Waltz and Kamala, right?
The alien in the room. No, we're not talking about that. What's been going on with you guys? Anything else new? Like pop culture wise?
Just been watching the Walls Harris rallies. Want to talk about it?
No.
I thought you asked.
It was such a.
Is that all? I mean, the Olympics just fucking ended.
I watched.
I didn't watch the Olympics after that shameful opening ceremony.
I watched a lot of the Olympics. Of
boycotted it.
course, we have to talk about the Australian breakdancing, which is one of the most amazing things that's ever happened. I did, by the way, about 25 minutes before we started the podcast, finish the final season of The Umbrella Academy on Netflix.
Oh, it's out.
It's out. I finished it.
Shit, it Borderlands to me. I thought I was waiting for that.
You know what? It absolutely did the same thing as Borderlands. It snuck right in there. And
yeah,
I'm not.
First season was quite good.
The first season is very unparalleled. I think the fourth season was fine.
You could say Gerard lost his way.
That's right. Some people might say that. His mother might say that a lot. But I think more for me.
When he was a young boy.
When he was a young
boy. Took him into the city.
Also, you know what? This is the dumbest thing for me to complain about for this series is that they did not feature one song of his in the show, and they go out of their way.
Yeah, the lack of my chem was very intentional.
I get that. But you get to the final season and you're wrapping up the whole thing, and they're like putting in these very specific like hipster indie fucking bands on there, and I'm like, these are great songs and they're fine. Just give us one. Just throw one in there, right?
You can't cross the streams because that would select the My Chemical Romance verse, which is a whole other set of mythology and characters. And
listen, first of all, I'm very aware of their universe because they open up the Nightmare Fuel series at Halloween Horror Nights every year with that song. It is the anthem. People sing it in unison out there. So they've sold themselves to Orlando, Florida, but they can't put one. Just give us one nuggie in Umbrella Academy. I don't know. It doesn't work for me, but I think that the biggest issue for me is it felt like this is going to be the worst thing that Nick has ever heard. It's a combination between the last season of Game of Thrones and the last season of Lost, in that it takes an isolated story that sort of takes place outside of the overall mythology, and it rushes through it really quick, and at the end of it, it's like, and here's how it all ties together with everything else, and you're like, why did we just do that? Why did we? And it's 6 episodes too. It's like they have to go so fast through it. It didn't work for me.
And it was written by Damon Lindelof.
It was Damon Lindelof getting notes from Benioff and Weiss. They got together and they're like, hey, let's collaborate and do the Umbrella Academy, but not put any My Chemical Romance songs in it. That was their thing.
Lindelof learns from his mistakes and doesn't work with
We've discussed this many times. It's fine.
By the way, Ben, did you? I don't think you have, so I don't want to bring it up if you have not. Did you finish House of Dragons?
Not yet.
Okay.
Still 2 episodes.
We'll wait on that. I literally. All right. So I have one last thing before. I apologize. I know we're like way over on our preamble.
We're not going to talk about any D23. All the
I want you to get into that too. But like just the last thing I have on my list that I want to make sure I get to because it was so funny to me. I got on this subreddit that I never thought I would get on, which is like an AMC movie theater employees subreddit. And the post that got me in was, what movie did you have to work that had the worst fans of any movie you had to work.
I know
my
that.
God.
I worked in
know?
a fucking movie theater.
Yeah, I know that. So this is why I wanted to bring this out, Ben. So this is
I
after your
worked in a movie
time.
theater as well.
I'm gonna
I
say it's
know.
after your time, but when I tell you every single post named the same goddamn movie and had the same breakdown, it blew my mind. So I want to hear from your generation, what was the movie that was like the worst thing you dealt with? And I will then reveal what the actual worst one is. That people are like, no, nothing has been worse than this. This is the end of times.
I can tell you, the year I worked in the movie theater, it was 1999's The Haunting, the one starring Liam Neeson. For some reason, everyone who went into that movie theater was just a fucking asshole.
That checks
Did you
that
say
checks out.
Shrek?
Yeah, Shrek, for sure.
Was that yours?
Yeah, it's mine. Shrek is mine, for
That's
sure.
amazing.
Yeah,
So,
it was really messy, bunch of asshole
I
kids.
am mind the kids. I am mind cleaning up popcorn.
Well, let me
when
tell
somebody
you,
went into the
Ben.
shit all over 4 bathroom stalls. That literally fucking happened.
Well, you don't know. It's a multiplex. You don't know if they went into the haunting and then speared their feet.
I worked in a 6-screen movie theater, man. I know
Was Shrek
what
playing?
movie they were coming out of.
Was Shrek playing during the haunting? Because maybe it was one of those Shrekies. I'm telling you. I swear to God, I was cleaning up the seats after a screening of Shrek, and I found a box of anal beads in the back row.
were
And
they
so
Shrek anal beads?
Well, it was like in a jewelry box, right? Along one of those long. Like,
Well,
next
yeah,
box.
that's what you do.
And
Because you got to make sure they don't get
Right.
stolen. Yeah.
And we opened it up, and it was like it was lying in like again like a necklace, like a cushiony velvet robe, and they thought it was
And you
the
looked at
more
your
naive
coworker-
people.
You looked at your coworker and you saw their face. Now you're a believer.
Yeah.
God,
What-
that played during the credits as I discovered the.
I will
the
say what's
anal
really
beads.
funny is that. So,
But it was like brand new, right? And
Yeah.
it looked. Here's what I think happened. I think somebody came straight from the
Well, they
sex shop.
came.
they came straight
to
into their cup of
Shrek.
Shrek. Yeah.
And I think they took it out or something, or they goofed about it or whatever. They looked at it one more time before Shrek started, and then they forgot it because. And then again, I can't prove that it wasn't used, but it looked pristine. And so we picked it up and we kept it. We kept it in the manager's office for like 2 weeks, and we had a bet, like, is anybody going to come and claim the anal? And again, we hoped someone was actually going to have the balls. Oh, hey, yeah, I went to the 215 Shrek. I may have left a pair of maroon and violent anal beads, not violent. Anal beads. That's a totally different.
They were violent. The anal beads
Violet.
were violent.
I'm turning
violent.
violet.
They only
Maroon
look
and violet.
pristine
So they were
used by
FSU. They were
Salma Hayek
FSU.
and Edward
Yeah.
Norton.
Yeah.
I had that photo.
So
on
I will
my
say
bulletin
that
board.
one of the funnier things about this discourse is that while the movie I will say
It was Shrek, wasn't it? I'm right. I know.
No. There were this movie took over, but there were multiple people that did talk about Shrek. They did not talk about The Haunting, which is funny. But there were like a number of them that talked about Shrek.
Yeah,
The
not
number
surprised.
one movie.
Those Shrekies, man.
And I mean, I will send you guys. I have a link to the subreddit so you can actually go and read this yourselves. It was was post after post after post in this was The Sound of Freedom, which is the like super right wing
Wow.
movie. And they go, it was conspiracy theorists that would come in and they would complain about the air conditioning not being the right temperature because we were trying to sweat them out of watching the movie and all these things. And all these people, and it's by the way, this is only AMC theaters. I was only on the AMC Reddit. And they were like, they go, God, and some guy gets on there and he's like, I was fucking in an AMC theater for Infinity Wars. It was goddamn fucking hot because there were too many of us in the theater. And everyone else goes, yeah, that's why it was so hot. Is they were like 200 people going to matinees on a Tuesday in the fucking Midwest in the summer.
because-
and they're like,
it's
it's
because-
hot in here.
It's because they only had 2 screenings the entire day.
No,
All of them came at once.
they were they're like we had these packed screenings, and these people are like, it's hot in this theater. Like there's 500 of you in here. Of course it's hot. What's wrong with you? It's amazing. But it was so funny because the first time it popped up, I was like, oh, that's kind of amusing. And then just like every post kept coming in. Everyone like, Yeah, it's definitely Sound of Freedom. Like Sound of
I don't
Freedom's the
know.
worst
I
thing
feel
ever.
like I feel like the numbers of crowds in these types of events are greatly exaggerated.
Nick, god damn it, every time it cuts to you, it just looks like you have a dick in your mouth. I'm so
It
sorry.
really does. You got this like branch, and then you got this other like shadow dick on you, and those dumb sunglasses, and your Billy Bob Thornton goatee. Like it's none of this is working for me.
I can change it for you.
No, it just cracks
No,
me
you
up.
should remove all of it.
Okay.
No, I think you should keep all of it.
So Ben, you asked. So Nick, tell us
here's
about
the thing.
D23.
Let's skip MCU.
Oh,
Let's not
well,
talk about it.
D23 is not just MCU, but this is terrible, Nick. Why? Are you such a?
They also made an announcement they're having new rides at Disney and
There's a
like
villains
the Avatar
universe.
Land
Can
and
you
California
please- Can
Adventure.
you stop? Can we not look at this? Nick
Oh.
now is looking like
I'm Rocket Raccoon.
He's various Wes Anderson like anthropomorphic animals. He was a rabbit in like a
Just keep him off the
fancy
call.
pink sweater, and now he's a now
Do
he's
you think
a
I can add a
panda
mustache
in
to the panda?
I don't like
I
this.
don't think it will let you. I don't think it will let you. add.
So on Thursday, Matt and I are going to see Alien Romulus.
We are going to watch what I described sexually to Ben as face huggers in the water, which I'm really into. Those previews, I will say, I've watched. Now this is interesting. Their marketing campaign. I went to see movies back to back, and they had the same trailer played twice, but one of them played the second half of it with no sound.
Wait,
which
you did a
I
double feature?
loved. No, well, no, I did like I went to see like Long Legs one week, and I saw Deadpool another week. But the Long Legs preview for Alien Romulus was like they dropped the sound out for the review.
Yeah, I love that.
they
I
dropped
love
the
that
music
trailer.
out.
And it was fucking good. Like it made
Love
me
that trailer.
Like it put made my hair stand up on end. And then the second time we saw it, they played sound in it, and I was not nearly as interested. But I still think the movie's gonna be.
Was it as good as the Mummy trailer where they took out the sound?
I
with Tom Cruise?
I did think about that.
And they kept the just the one stem of random sound effects.
Nick, the answer will always be that is no movie trailer is as entertaining as The Mummy without sound. It's the best movie trailer ever revealed.
Oh my god! I just got me an idea. I should make a super cut of the audio from that trailer and spice it with Tom Cruise accepting the Olympic torch. And
I think you're
ceremony.
onto something 100% there, and that will run for approximately 4 hours on TikTok and make you a star. But that's
my
enough.
God.
That's enough. It is. But that.
Listen, all I can hope for is just a fleeting moment of just a percentage of the Costco guys' success. You know the Costco guys from Boca Raton? Those fucking guys.
Yeah,
Do you think-
it's Brian and Kevin. They are the Costco guys from Boca Raton.
No, you know what I'm talking about, though, right?
I
For
do.
real?
I do.
AJ and Big Justice, the father who forces the super Italian father who forces his child and daughter to be in all these videos, and he basically hawks every possible food item or toy. He does like 15 videos a day with his kids. And he's been doing it for years, and he only just now hit. Like, now all the old videos are coming up. He's literally had these kids in front of his phone since they were like 5 years old. Like, making a video every day until they hit. It's kind of, I don't know.
I'll
I feel
just,
like it's a dark
kind of
side to that.
exploitative.
I'll say
Yeah, a
I'll
little
say
bit.
Ben was a little bit sheepish in his excitement for going to see the Alien movie, but I'm like I every one of these previews I would why I call it facehuggers in the water is that part of the trailer, which seems like it's going to be a big section of the movie. I would watch an entire movie with not a single xenomorph in it, and it was just facehuggers chasing people around. I think they're the most terrifying part of the
I kind of thought
Aliens
that's what they were going to
mythology.
do at first, honestly. I
I'm
kind of thought that's
totally
where it was going.
okay with that. That part where it's trying to like enter that guy's mouth, and it's very unsettling in a
It's very foul.
very phallic, like the original Aliens. I do not like watching that part of the trailer at all, but it's effective.
I like like any one alien can kill an entire ship of people, right? At any given time. But like the face huggers aren't as formidable. You can survive an encounter, but what if there's, 50 of them on a ship? Like I like the dichotomy shift from like, yeah, they're not as dangerous
They're like the compies in Jurassic Park.
Yes, exactly. And like to me, that's a movie for sure. But I'll tell you what, that trailer, and it could just be a slick trailer. There are plenty of instances where there's a slick trailer, and you're like, oh, they get the IP, and then they don't. But I will say this. All the trailers to the rebooted Ghostbusters films, and I'm just talking trailer. I'm not taking a shit on the Ghostbusters. I'm just talking trailers. Talking trailers. I didn't watch those trailers and think.
I'm pouring my drink right now.
All right. Just hear me out here. I'm not talking about the movie.
Ben just started a fresh round of chemo. That's fine. Go ahead, Nick. That's fine.
Can I please? Look, here's what I'm saying. You watch the trailer and you don't get two things that I got from the Alien Romulus trailer. One, that the filmmakers really got the property and did it justice in a way that it wasn't shoving it down your throat. And two, that it looked like enough of a new spin. So they used the same title reveal. They used the same sound dropping out as the original. You know, you have a lot of references to the classic Alien.
You have no idea what you're fucking talking about. I'm sorry, man.
What are you talking about?
I'm sorry. The only part that I'm laughing harder about is that you use the phrase "shoving it down your throat" for a movie about facehuggers, and that
understand the
is fucking hysterical
I
to
only
me.
grew up on the set, and my dad directed the movies.
I know that's what makes it even more incredible, Ben. And again, I'm just talking about the trailer. Okay, a lot of film editors aren't making the trailer. The studio's making the trailer the way they want to make it. And a lot of times, a trailer can be nothing like a property, for better or worse. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Those trailers, to me, didn't instill confidence. For me, for big tentpole properties like this, that's been many years since the last iteration, I want to feel a little connected to the source material. I want a couple Easter eggs. I want to feel a little nostalgia. I want to feel like they get it. But I also don't want to feel like it's as big of a retread. And I think that the Alien Romulus trailer is really good because it does those two things particularly well.
For me, my excitement for it.
There is literally a shot in the trailer that is an exact copy of the shot from Aliens. Exact copy. Straight up in. Like, I mean, down to the lighting and everything. So.
It felt familiar.
Right? Well. I mean, I'm just saying, it's not felt cheap to me. I will not be excited about an Aliens movie until I see one and I'm impressed by it in person.
But Ghostbusters, literally, that's the whole movie is just retreading images and characters and exact to the T.
I will say my excitement for this movie comes from the choice of director, and in terms of that, I really, really enjoyed their Evil Dead reboot. In that, I didn't feel
we saw it together.
We saw it in the theater where we did not know we were going to see it. It was a surprise to see it.
And Bruce Campbell.
But I felt like I watched a something that very much was going, okay, this is a movie we grew up on. We're going to make our version of it that's very beholden to it, but in a great way. And if this does this, I'll be happy. Yeah. And as long as they do this, I'm so happy with it. Like, there's nothing that will not work for me.
Apparently, Ridley Scott liked it, which I think that might be a warning sign. But
Ridley Scott, I think, also liked Prometheus back in the day. So I don't trust those ones so much anymore.
Ridley Scott directed Prometheus.
Yeah, well, that's why he liked it. He thought it was a good movie. I'm just saying. Anyway,
did you see what Ridley Scott had left the director before the first day of shooting? Have you guys seen that?
He pooped on the set.
No, he left a note
for Fede Alvarez.
Yeah, he goes, "Dear Fede, good luck, good health, good hunting. Don't fuck up. Very best, Ridley Scott."
I'm okay with that.
I thought that was fun. I like that.
That sounds good.
I'm good with that. All right. So we're 50 minutes into our podcast.
All right, one more thing, Ben. Here's the thing.
Oh boy.
With Ghostbusters, you can go anywhere, right? You're on Earth. It could be any. You could change the scenery. You could do what do you do if you're not going to be on a ship? What is your idea of the next alien? Do you have to go? Are humans going onto the alien planet again, and the movie taking place on the alien planet? are aliens going to make it to Earth? Like how do I love the idea of the claustrophobic ship, and I think that it's not necessarily cheap as long as you do something different and do some really good character work. If the whole thing is aliens come on ships, and that's where the problem is when you're flying on a ship.
That's also the porn franchise is also aliens come on ships.
No, that's Femalien part 2
from LA. Can I remind you, you like Prometheus?
I remember liking Prometheus coming out of the theater, but it's been a long time. I don't know if I feel the same way. Coming out of the theater, I like Prometheus, but I haven't seen it since or thought about it. So
it's a bad movie.
Prometheus is nothing to me. I like the visuals.
It's a pretty bad movie.
Yeah, I don't remember it.
I saw that movie the same day I saw Rock of Ages, and Rock of Ages wasn't the worst movie I saw that day.
Wait, no, we saw that together because we watched the
it was
Julian Huff.
No, my brother and I did a double feature of
and then did we watch Rock of Ages again?
No.
You watched it again?
No.
I watched it with you.
We did not.
I watched Julian Huff and Rock of Ages.
We watched Grease with Julian Huff. We did not watch Rock of Ages.
No, we watched Rock of Ages. Came out in like 2012, man.
No, we did not, Nick.
At your house?
No.
No.
Oh,
Nick,
we've seen it together.
No. No,
I have a vivid memory of watching it with you.
It's the worst.
Who did I watch Rock of Ages with?
It's maybe the worst movie I've ever seen.
I love Rock of Ages.
It's so bad.
It's so bad.
What's funny is I'm now good friends with an actress who was in Rock of Ages, and I'm like, it's the worst movie I've ever seen. I'm so sorry. It's terrible. It's so bad.
It's a rare bad movie though, because there are probably 3 or 4 times during that movie where like you're laughing at a musical number and it's so bad, ha ha ha, and then you're like, oh, okay, it's served its purpose. I'm gonna turn it off, and then something else crazy would happen, and you'd laugh, and it would hook you back in for another 15, and then it would slow down again. You'd be like, okay, it's over now, and then something fucking funny would happen again. No, I watched the whole fucking movie.
It is maybe the biggest waste of mainstream talent I've ever seen in my life.
The best part is.
I will. I don't know what your best part. There's one moment in the movie that I think is so phenomenal.
The very beginning.
Yes, it is Tom Cruise singing an ode to Malin Ackerman's ass, and I go, all right, I'm kind of on board with this. I kind of like this. I kind of like this, but
my favorite is the very beginning. Where like Julian Huff is like moving from this like small town city to like New York to have a star, and it like this slow pushing in the backseat of a Greyhound. She goes, "I'm just a small town girl," and she's like singing as a narrator.
It's so bad,
and it's "Don't Stop Believing," and then like everyone sings with her. Like
that movie has Paul Giamatti, Bryan Cranston, and Alec Baldwin in scenes together, and they're all like, what the fuck did we do? Who talked us into doing this? This is a bad idea.
And it still made more money than Borderlands.
It sure did. It has a better Rotten Tomatoes score.
I was literally about to make that joke.
All right, so I want to get to our topic because I'm very curious about discussing this one because I struggled maybe more.
All right, next episode we're going to talk about new Marvel stuff in D23.
I came up with the topic. I really liked it.
No, I
love the topic.
I love the topic. I struggled with it mainly because we're on episode 229 of the podcast. Mm-hmm. I have talked about almost every film influence in my life at some point in the podcast. And I made it a personal goal to try to pick properties that I had not gone into before on the podcast, which proved to be very difficult. And the 3 I landed on, I probably brought up at some point.
Well, hold on, Matt.
I think correct me, but
I think one of the cool premise. One of the things about the premise is not. I think a lot of things that really influenced you. I don't think it was shocking to you that it did. I think to a certain extent you expected it to be influential. Ben was talking about things that snuck up on you, things that were surprisingly inspirational,
which I agree.
Just all that to say, I did struggle with this too. I think even in our text thread, I was like, I'm gonna put some thought into this. I'm not just gonna show up with no preparation like I normally do.
Surprise! Nick does not prepare for the podcast ever.
And to be fair, a lot of mine was also thinking retrospectively.
Yeah.
Like things that you didn't realize were
Absolutely
inspirational to you at all, or influential on you at all, and then all of a sudden you're just like, I have quoted this movie for 20 years and never given it its due credit, or
Sure.
I have taken the dialogue from this movie and it's influenced anything I've ever written.
So
Yeah.
Ben,
So-
why don't you lay out
that
for the
was what-
audience
the
what
way
the
I kind of
topic
approached
is, how you set the topic
It was
out to be.
the way I approached it was, what are 3 properties, TV or film, that although mine are all film, that you never expected to influence you, but did.
Oh, I didn't know TV was open in this. That could have changed things.
I steered away from TV. Let's just all do film. I like
think
doing
it's better
film.
to keep it on film.
Yeah.
For sure. But no, I was just interested in what are those things you look back on, you're like, wow, I can't believe that. Like, at the time, that never seemed like it would have made a difference. But then
Yes.
later, it absolutely did.
I love it. I think it's great because there are a lot of things I watched like on repeat as a child that weren't necessarily good things at all, but they were just parts of like my childhood growing up that like influenced me.
And it doesn't have to. Another thing I was thinking about is it doesn't have to be a movie that you love necessarily. It's something
None of these are ones I love.
that influence how you do something. Now, my list ended up coming out to mostly movies I really like. Fortunately. And ones I really haven't discussed much at all, if ever, on the podcast. But I was really interested in hearing what you guys came up with. I say let's do a roundabout. Let's do one and one.
I mean, it is long legs, Matt. By that definition, it is long legs. You can genuinely claim long legs.
In 20 years, I
In
will
earnest.
probably bring up long legs in this list of things.
You don't have to like it though. It's influenced your text threads for a week.
It sure did. Well, so one of the things I did that I hadn't planned to do, but actually wound up being really sort of interesting to me is that so the movies I kind of landed on were just these things I watched as a child, and they
Whenever
weren't-
Cinemax had the free weekend.
No, first of all, we had a subscription to Cinemax, and
Whoa,
listen,
Mr. Moneybags, come
again.
for money.
I'm just
come
gonna
for
say,
money.
So there was there were, if I was going by the Tom Hanks masturbation principle that we did the inaugural episode of the show about, absolutely those would be on there. But I kind of picked more
Hot Springs
random
Hotel?
So I picked more random ones.
Emmanuel in space.
But I did a thing that I didn't expect to do, which is I looked up the directors and writers of these movies because I was kind of interested of like what else they work on, and I was
That's what I did too.
shocked on a couple of mine that really blew me out of the water.
Well,
so
that's like really getting into a band and then finding out that their favorite band is another one
yes,
of your favorite bands.
absolutely,
Exactly,
absolutely. Like no, it that what made me love this topic was when I was like, oh my God, that movie's directed. They directed this as well. It blew my mind on a couple of these. One of them that kind of didn't have anything on it, but the others did. So, well, Ben, you broached the topic. Let's hear your first one here because I kind of want to hear your setting of the
If you
table.
want to hear my most populist one, the most well-known one,
It's Alien. Okay, got it. Anyway, moving on. It's Mac and me.
this was also
Frozen Empire.
So I think I've told the story maybe once on the podcast before, but it's funny enough that's worth repeating. When I was 9 years old, my mother allowed me to rent PG-13 movies. So as long as it was
Humble brag.
PG-13, it was fine. And I wasn't allowed to watch rated R unless it was with her, and it was usually like Schindler's List or something like that. But I would find I love monster movies and like creature features and all this other stuff. So I was just mining the.
Wait. Are you saying every time you watched an R-rated movie, it was Schindler's List, or of the ilk?
Yeah. Until
No,
I was 18.
when he
Until I
masturbated
was
to an
18,
R-rated
only
movie, it was
R-rated
Schindler's
movie,
List. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Just a second.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
No, I rented this one movie. That was PG-13 because I loved the look on the front of the VHS, and I still remember my mom walked back and forth in a couple of inopportune times
Always.
where something bad was being said, and she said at one point she was like, "If I come back through and they're using bad language one more time, I'm turning this movie off." And she managed to walk right back through.
I'm turning this off, and we're watching Schindler's List.
When Kevin Bacon goes, "Fuck you," in Tremors.
Love it.
Yeah.
Directed by Ron Underwood, was absolutely seminal. And like, first
Seminal
off,
to some.
It makes a lot of sense when
Yeah.
you say it. Ben. It makes a lot of sense.
it's a great creature feature. It's a great comedy.
Ben, what else did he direct?
So he did Mighty Joe Young. He did Pluto Nash. Never directed movie.
Wow.
Woof.
Only TV after that.
Wow.
So he only directed like 6 features total. But like that movie blew my mind at that time because it had kind of the wit and fun of like Ghostbusters, and it had that kind of fun creature feature aspect of sort of an alien. And then it had this kind of weird Southern sensibility of kind of like even though it was a Western.
Welcome to Dune, Texas. Watch out for them sandworms.
What's great, Ben, is that you have one of the very few movies that is both a left movie and a right movie.
Yeah.
It's a unifier that movie is one of the few things that people on either side of the political aisle can agree on. They fucking love Tremors.
Yeah, of course. It was the on-screen debut of Reba McEntire firing off every gun in their fucking arsenal. So,
and the dad from Family Ties, Michael Gross, just fucking killing it.
Yeah. But anyways, I love that movie. And it really, I think what it informed for me most was pacing. Like, don't spend too much time. Like, establish your character and then get to the next plot point. Establish your character. And as long as they're interesting, they're going to be memorable.
Yeah.
And you have 2 main characters in that movie, but every character is memorable. Like, everyone has their own role. So I love that movie. That was my first one.
And like if you end up going in the industry or taking interest in writing, it's also kind of a very unexpected lesson in efficient writing. Yeah. Working with a budget, which was limited. Obviously, a great cast helps, but that is efficient writing at its core, and it made a huge impact on how good that first movie is. And you see it decline as they make more. There are lessons to learn, like as a filming. You read that script and it's great.
Well, there's the whole thing about how Kevin Bacon, they were making it, and was like, can't believe my career has gone in the shitter. I'm making a movie about fucking earthworms.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He thought. By the way, this is I think we actually did it in one of our episodes. I forget when we're doing kind of like our actor spotlights, but Kevin Bacon, barring the whole 6 Degrees nonsense, is one of the most interesting working actors maybe that has ever existed.
Amazing actor.
And every interview I've ever read with Kevin Bacon is an insight into filmmaking that I will never have in my entire life. It's so fucking great. I love it.
His best friend is David Kep.
Yeah.
He's a really interesting dude.
David Kep, who is a Moraine Farm native, where my mom's family's farm was in Wisconsin, and I have a bunch of relatives that are in Stir of Echoes.
For those who don't know, David Kep wrote Jurassic Park, directed Stern Echoes.
Yes, he was it
longtime
became
writer and
Spielberg's
director.
basically number one
And-
screenwriter for a while.
And is adapting the new Michael Crichton James Patterson thing. So
He also had a reputation in Hollywood for having the best gossip. Like, he always knew the best gossip. The best secrets were kept.
Nick, what was your favorite? What's your first movie?
Glad you asked.
God, fucking
I'm gonna go with
right now.
now. You know me. You know I love Greek mythology, and I've always loved Greek mythology, even as a little
It's
kid.
Alien in L.A. All right, we got it. Next,
No, it's
moving
Shrek.
on.
No, it wouldn't be a surprise necessarily that I would like this movie. It was a surprise because it, like another movie on this list, it was framed to me by my father as a favorite of his. And you're going to sit down and we're going to watch it. So my expectations were low, as a kid.
So it's an Italian gangster drama.
Can I guess? Can I guess?
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, I like this game.
Is it Spartacus?
No.
Ooh, good guess.
No, I mean Greek mythology.
It's the one with the owl, the owl that's made out of wooden
exactly.
things. The Poseidon.
No,
Clash
the
of the
mechanical
Titans?
owl. Clash of the
Clash of the
original,
Titans. Clash of the Titans.
original Clash of the Titans. And I remember being, that and the California Raisins were basically my first introduction to stop motion animation. And when Nightmare Before Christmas is one of the most influential movies of your life, it set the table
Not familiar.
for a lifelong love of animation, of mythology. It's still, to me, when that's on, I will watch that from start to finish. The original. It's still, I think, does the characters such good justice. And I was obsessed with Medusa specifically. The way they did Medusa and that scene where he could only use the reflection from his shield to fight her is just such a good tension-filled scene. It ages like a fine wine, honestly. And the special effects have gotten better since then, but immediately after seeing that movie, I was obsessed. Like, I had my dad tell me about Harryhausen and what other movies did he make, and looking up Argonauts afterwards, and just getting into mythology and stop motion.
So
pretty
Corridor
seminal.
Crew did a great episode talking about that and showing how impressive a lot of those effects still are. How they were timing up all the stop motion with all the actual action, and how that had to be all mapped out ahead of time.
And it's also you're not necessarily Harryhausen didn't direct it, right?
No, he just all the stuff.
So back then it was really just
he's like the effects house.
Yeah. So it's really, back then it was sort of it's technology that they still you just got to trust him. You got to hire the best guy and go, because a lot of that conceptualizing, that hardcore conceptualizing, any concept of what he was going to do, it's sort of a leap of faith. So when something like that comes together, it's pretty, talking about just from a filmmaking perspective, that's pretty cool.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things where the special effects stuff has to be mapped out so far in advance.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
And so meticulously, otherwise it's just not going to work.
That movie is so good.
Pre-CGI, I mean, you have to map out CGI as well, but the idea of what money went into doing stop motion and any kind of special effects back in the day was
integration
years of
multiple
work.
actors.
Yeah.
Okay,
And you got different looks too. You've got a giant creature. You've got the
You got that shitty looking
Yeah,
owl.
and
You
the
gotta make that owl look really shitty compared to
you have a
everything else.
humanoid monster in Medusa.
Yeah.
You have a lot of different. It dipped its toes in quite a few little mythological pulls. All right.
Yeah.
So
Rock
my first movie is I don't think any of you would ever in a million years guess. But I wanna go and tell you who the other things this director went on to do, right? They directed an episode of one of my favorite TV shows of all time, Twin Peaks. They directed Glengarry Glen Ross, which is a phenomenal David Mamet adaptation.
I know who it is.
They directed Fear, the movie where Mark Wahlberg fingers a girl on a roller coaster. They also directed Marky Mark, Hey DJ, music video. We won't go too much on that one. They directed episodes of Hannibal, a TV series I also loved. House of Cards, a series I loved. Wayward Pines, a series I loved. Billions, a series I loved. And they directed 2 of the 50 Shades of Grey movies. Not the first
Goofy
one.
movie?
It's not correct. The Goofy movie.
Well, I love directors who give Mark Wahlberg work, so I'm excited to hear it.
I do love that the idea that the Goofy movie could have been directed by someone that did the 50 Shades of Grey, because that's fantastic.
That's my sense of
So
humor.
this director's name is James Foley, and he directed a movie that I grew up on.
And he lives down by the river.
A movie I grew
In a
up on
van.
called Who's That Girl? And Who's That Girl is a Madonna vehicle, for those of you that don't know. And Griffin Dunn, this is post American Werewolf in London, where I saw this movie before I discovered Griffin Dunn in American Werewolf in London. And before Griffin Dunn directed another movie that I consider to be one of my very influential movies, which is called Addicted to Love, with Matthew Broderick and Meg Ryan.
Meg Ryan, yeah.
That's a phenomenally underrated comedy, romantic comedy.
It's a great rom-com.
It's so good. So Who's That Girl is not a great rom-com. It is not a great movie. There is nothing that is phenomenal about this movie other than that they have an actual tiger that is like a major character in the movie that I'm always fascinated of how did they shoot this and do all of these scenes with it. And also, this is 1987 Madonna. She's not an actress. She's not anywhere close to an actress, but she's out there with Griffin Dunn.
Is this before Desperately Seeking Susan or after?
This is after Desperately Seeking Susan. This is in her blonde ambition, short, fucking hot as shit. The reason I watched it is I had a huge hard-on for Madonna and her short blonde hair, like platinum blonde thing when she was trying to be Marilyn Monroe was super interesting to me. It is not a great movie. It is not greatly acted. It is not really written very well at all.
Is Mark Wahlberg in it?
Mark Wahlberg is not in it, which is the best thing I can say about it.
It has that going for it.
The one thing it has going for it, no Mark Wahlberg.
Good. I'll take it.
In fact, the tiger does a better job in the movie than Mark Wahlberg could ever do playing anyone in the movie. But
and the tiger is less danger to Filipino people.
And I can't tell you why. My cousin Colleen and I watched this movie daily. Like one summer in Wisconsin. Like we could not get over this movie. We would watch it every day. I can quote it to this point. Damn. I still remember the entire movie. It is ingrained in my memory. And it was so funny to me because I was like, it was when Ben broached this topic, the first movie that popped in my head was Who's That Girl? And I was like, who was even involved in this? And I'm like, he directed Glenn Ross? Like, holy shit.
Who's that beautiful girl?
Well, and it's her song also used to be, I used to quote this a lot because it says, I don't even know what the actual lyrics are, but it sounds like she says, Senorita Tostita, who's that girl? And I always, to this day, I just sing Senorita Tostita. Who's that girl? It's a great movie. Not a great movie. Terrible movie.
Not a great
but
movie.
I highly, if you want to just waste an afternoon, go out and watch Who's That Girl.
Nice.
Number 1 on my list.
I could not get out of here without naming a black and white movie.
Oh, here we go.
Of course.
Not Concrete Jungle.
Not Concrete Jungle.
Not Au revoir las Infantes.
The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari.
By the way, Au revoir les old folk came out in like 1989.
It's
really in
old.
color.
It's really old.
No. There is a filmmaker named Wolf Via who on a $200,000 budget in 1960 made what I think is one of the best horror movies of all time, which is Village of the Damned.
Ooh. All right.
Now, a lot of people don't know about the original.
They do know the remake.
John Carpenter, it's one of John Carpenter's favorite movies. He made the remake with Christopher Reeve in 1995, which was
and Kirstie Alley.
Yeah, it was Christopher Reeve's last movie before he got paralyzed, unfortunately. But I don't know how I got turned on to that original movie. I don't know who told me about it when I was a kid. but I watched that movie on repeat. And what was most, for those who don't know, Village of the Dam is about, like, there's a small town, everyone passes out for 3 hours, everyone wakes up, and then all of the women who are of childbearing age all of a sudden become pregnant.
Yeah.
And like an advanced pregnant age. And they give birth to these kids who are aliens, essentially, who can all control everyone's minds. But they trust this teacher who's like teaching them about English culture and English language. And the end scene is they're trying to read his mind because he's put a bomb in the school where they all are. And he's just thinking of a brick wall. So they can't penetrate it and it's one of the most weirdly iconic scenes that I've ever seen in a really low budget movie. And it became a kind of a huge thing, kind of a cult classic. But I just remember as a kid watching that scene where you have this whole classroom of children just sitting there staring and trying to, like, I think it really deeply influenced Alex Proyas in doing Dark City.
I was just thinking that. I was going to ask
it
you about
it
that.
reminds me a lot, like Dark City reminds me a lot of Village of the Damned, except that Village of the Damned is these 11-year-old kids.
Yeah.
Or seemingly 11-year-old kids. But as far as influence is concerned, tension. I've never seen. I honestly put that beyond any Hitchcock I've ever seen. That,
when did you watch this exactly? Like, what was your where were you in your filmic journey when you watched it?
8, 9, 10 years old. And I'm not sure who turned me on to it.
Sure.
Because I saw the original. I think I own the original, and then the remake came out. Because I still remember when the remake came out, I was super excited about it, and I saw it in the theater, and I was like, man, it sucked.
I love it.
I've never seen either.
I know that one. I know that one a decent amount.
If you look up Village of the Damned brick wall on YouTube, you'll see
a great ending.
The scene at the end of the movie from the original, and it's, I mean, again, for a low budget independent film, with a director that never really did much with his career, it's solid, man. It's really, really cool.
Nice.
1960, black and white.
Amazing.
Yeah, and adjusted for inflation, it's still a bargain to make that movie. It was a little over $2 million.
Right. Okay.
Nikki, what's your next one?
Next.
I'm gonna go with another childhood favorite, and it holds a very special place in my heart because my parents were pretty overprotective when it came
Emmanuel
to
in
movies.
Space.
Emmanuel in
Space.
I snuck down to watch that on my own time. This was What About Bob?
Great
Super
movie.
underrated. And
Frank
it's crazy.
Oz, baby.
Yeah. So Fozzie the Bear directed this. Bill Murray and I was in Jaws.
Richard Dreyfuss. Who hated doing that movie famously.
Well, listen, it worked for his character. He was perpetually perturbed and upset. It is. I think it's a dark comedy. I think you put it in
A very dark comedy.
Yeah.
It doesn't go as dark as some things, but it's a genre that is really hard to nail and stick the landing, and it does that really well. You get superstar performances. It's super quotable. It's the reason why I knew where Lake Winnipesaukee was as a kid. No one else knew. It's super worth watching, and I think it honestly gets kind of lost in the shuffle of Bill Murray movies,
It's so
comedies.
good.
But
It's really good.
maybe my favorite. And I remember just thinking, like, I shouldn't be seeing this. But my parents just loved it so much.
Yeah.
It became a movie we would just, when we couldn't think of what we wanted to put on, that night, it just ended up being What About Bob, 1 out of 5 times. And it has one of my favorite jokes that I thought was very edgy at the time when I was a kid, and I repeat over and over and over again. A guy's going to the psychiatrist, and he's trying to work through some trauma, and the doctor holds up an ink blot test, and he goes, "What do you see when you see this picture here?" And he goes, "Sex." And he goes, "Oh, okay. We'll try the next one." Holds up a different Rorschach. What about this one? Sex. Interesting. Okay, well, we got a couple more. Let's try one more. Pulls out a brand new Rorschach. Sex again. Yeah. And he goes, I think the problem here is that no matter what you see, you think of sex. And he goes, well, don't get mad at me, Doc. You're the one drawing all the dirty pictures.
It's a great way. Yeah. It's great.
That so retelling good. That joke, and learning how to tell it, was probably one of the first other than knock jokes, one of the first things I committed to memory and practiced the delivery on.
It's so funny. Awesome. we are very close in generations to one another, but especially when we look at 80s and 90s things, we're miles apart because we are watching things that are, 3 years when you're 7 versus 10 is forever. It's a hugely different thing. So I remember What About Bob was always one of those movies that there was a 75% of the friend group knew What About Bob and would quote that shit as soon as it came out. We especially
Baby Steps to the Elevator, Baby Steps
all
to the
of
stairs,
that, Baby Steps, Dr. Marvin, Dr. Leo Marvin, and Roses are red, violets are blue. I'm a schizophrenic and so am I. That was quoted constantly when I was in 6th grade. That was all over the place. And what's so funny is that you go 3 years past that to where now you don't really know it from your friends group, but your parents are watching it. So it's now it's kind of this edgy comedy of thing. I love kind of how all of this shit shakes up for all of us.
Well, one of the things I would always say is that, interestingly enough, some of those guys of that generation, like Frank Oz and Harold Ramis, really had a great handle on dark comedy. If they wanted to go dark, they could go dark. And
you literally brought up the other. I believe those two are more instrumental in our youth than even Ivan Reitman, which is a huge part of our comedy upbringing. But I think Harold Ramis and Frank Oz did things with movies that are
Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
Or Harold Ramis Shop. With Groundhog Day, Bowfinger, which I still think is one of the most underrated comedies of all fucking time. Those guys understood how to make a comedy beat work better than anybody else on the planet. They're the best.
We want to get to Matt's next movie, but I have to say this really quick. It was really funny when Beth was talking with her boss, the owner, Colette Mary Reed, who she works for, and we were talking about this comedy special, or not comedy special, but a special that was on Netflix. And she was like, "Oh, my best friend's husband directed that." And I was like, "Who?" And I'm we're watching it, and I'm like, "Frank Oz." She was like, "Yeah, we were at dinner with him last night." I was like, "Colette, your best friend is married to Frank Oz?" She was like, "Yeah." I was like,
I met Frank Oz.
She has no idea what that means. And I'm like, oh fucking my God.
Wild.
I met Frank Oz the same day I met Edward Norton working at the Senator Theater for the premiere of The Score.
For the premiere of The Score.
Yeah.
Where Marlon Brando wouldn't talk to him and would call him Miss Piggy.
The Score and the Heist. Sure wouldn't. The warring movies.
And De Niro would have to direct him.
I wanted to leave this one to last because it's a little bit more obvious, even though it's something I've not talked about before.
Do you not have two more?
I do have two, but that's why I'm gonna wait. The last one is the one I'm least prepared to talk about, but I'm gonna put this one front and center. So,
well, save one for the Patreon when we go live after the episode.
Right.
So this movie, this film, the director of this one directed before this directed Footloose. Directed a movie called Protocol with Goldie Hawn that I'm a big fan of. directed then went on to direct Steel Magnolias, My Blue Heaven, a phenomenal movie, True Colors, Undercover Blues, Boys on the Side, then did not direct after that. This movie stars
Herbert Ross, of course. I mean, can you even call yourself a film fan?
Stop Googling this. You fucking asshole, Nick. You wouldn't know that ever. So anyway, I was
Herbie Ross. Everyone knows Herbie Ross.
I was leading up to something, Nick. God damn it. Well, Nick already knows. So you can just fucking fuck off right now, Nick.
It was
the star.
First off, it was Herbie Hancock.
I should never have done this podcast. I'm so upset right now. The star of this movie,
deal with it,
is the star of Nick's arguably favorite movie of all time.
Mm-hmm.
The female star of this is the star of many of our masturbatory fantasies, and the first to portray a famous DC superheroine.
Angela Lansbury?
No.
Angela Lansbury is Catwoman.
I mean, come on. In 1961.
That was Julie Newmar.
Angela Lansbury's Catwoman.
It's a long film.
Oh, you might have broken me, Nick. I'm so sorry. This movie, for me, why I included it in my list, is that I am a huge fan of the medium of farce. I love a good door slamming, stage driven farce. And this movie ends on one that is, to my opinion, maybe unparalleled in cinema. It also uses a famous song choice that is never attributed to this movie and only ever attributed to Ferris Bueller's Day Off, which is the boom, boom, and it is the finale of this movie is called The Secret of My Success, starring Michael J. Fox.
Michael J. Fox. Right.
It is very much why I also will always love How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying, which this is basically the 80s Wall Street greed version of How to Succeed without the music. But the end of this movie is all of these people that are trying to pretend to be who they're not, and they want to sleep with other people, but that person doesn't want to sleep with them. And it's literally just doors slamming. And the female lead is the actress who played Supergirl, who is maybe one of the most wonderfully looking actresses of all time.
All
She's
right,
also
buddy.
in Billie Jean.
All right. Thanks for that.
All right.
We're not gonna. We don't have time to fawn over Helen Slater. All right, it's fine. Anyway, Helen Slater, phenomenally gorgeous. But I watched this movie. I saw this in the theaters at.
Who would you pick between Helen Slater and the hot Nazi from Last Crusade?
Helen Slater.
Okay. Well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Helen Slater. Helen Slater
well,
also showed up in a bunch of Law and Order episodes in the 90s and still super smoking hot. Yeah, absolutely. Helen Slater.
Also, should we just say Hot C and combine the two, make up the...
She also was in the
There's a wonderful
Supergirl
guffaw.
TV series
I
as
deserve that.
the fake mom of it. But anyway, no, it
I like that.
This movie, I saw this at Brookfield Square in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, or Wauwatosa, technically, Wisconsin, over one of my summers in the theaters. And I loved it. I was like, it's so funny. It's Marty McFly shows up and he wants to become a big executive and do all these things. And it was super ridiculous and funny. And I loved it. And it's one of those movies that I will still quote. And when I hear that song from Ferris Bueller, I think of, this is the movie I think of before I think of Ferris Bueller. If I hear, boom, boom,
ooh, bow, wow.
That's from Secret of My Success for me. So that's my number 2. All right, Benny. Bring us home.
Last one.
Wait, you all get 3?
Have you guys ever heard of the director Alan Moyle?
Oh, he's the one that invented cutting off the foreskin of Jewish babies.
Yeah,
he's a Moyle. Yeah, he does a bris. Mm-hmm. Guys, a Moyle is a man in Hebrew tradition that cuts off the foreskin.
I know. I was just letting that joke sink in.
If we had the soundboard, we could have played the cricket sound effect.
I hate all of you so much for that. That's such bullshit.
You reckon Pump 'Em the Volume, the Christian singer?
I love that. With Samantha Mathis. Mathis. That's Samantha
yeah.
Mathis.
Samanthas.
Angela,
where's Samanthas?
2 other movies.
Where's Mona?
Including the one I was going to include. And the reason I'm going to include this one is because it did what Dazed and Confused did for the 70s to me in the present day in the 90s. And it made me also want to be included in a culture that I wasn't exposed to yet.
It's a movie that's steeped in the 70s?
No. I'm saying how Dazed and Confused was steeped in the 70s.
What era? Okay, in the 90s. Okay.
This was steeped in the time it came out. In 1995. And that movie's Empire Records.
I know you're a big fan.
Well, Sinead O'Rebellion.
Rex Manning Day.
Shock me.
Rex Manning Day.
I love all of the dialogue in that movie. I absolutely just enjoy it so much. And I after working in a coffee shop for 3 years with a similar group of people, it doesn't feel as stylized as it comes across as. Like, it feels fairly genuine. And so, and hey, you're talking about retrospect, that movie has Renee Zellweger, Liv Tyler, Anthony LaPaglia is obviously was the biggest star at the time. Ethan Embry. I mean, we're talking about a huge cast of up-and-comers who were not stars yet. And I think it's a great movie. But
I think also, by the way, you make a good point, because I feel the same way about Clerks, which is an overly stylized piece of dialogue. But I worked in a video store, so I'm always drawn to it, even though I know we never were this articulate. We were not this poetic. No. But it's still not. It's not false in any way. It's just it's a better version of what we were.
It feels like a hyper stylized and better version of the dialogue that you would have.
Yeah.
But like I said, I mean, like my staff in the coffee shop felt very similar to that staff in the record store. And it made me want to fucking work in a record store. I mean,
that movie, Ben,
my name is fucking Warren, you know?
But that movie, Ben, also
and
is
High Fidelity.
That movie is aging great. Like it really, it's a movie that pops up constantly in a very positive light. It's never looked down on. It's a very well received movie.
Beth and I watched it last year.
It's woke, practically.
Ages so well. It really it has aged so well. It's aged as well as High Fidelity has.
Yeah,
which is insane.
Which is a tough show. It's so funny. Like every time I talk to JB, I'm always fascinated because she doesn't really have like much of affinity to the movie of High Fidelity, but she also was instrumental in being part of the Broadway production of a musical version of it. And I'm always asking her, because I'm like, I love the movie so much, so I'm always like, I don't know how, like I try not to like fanboy out about it, but I'm always like, what were the differences between it? She's like, I don't know, like I don't know the movie well enough to know any of the differences.
She probably never even read the book.
She'll like sometimes she'll throw on like the last number of it and be like, this is what's going on. I'm like, oh, that's really good. And I'm like, and I'm always impressed by it. It's one of those shows that I'm super excited because it apparently has a really good life in terms of licensing for regional theaters and community theaters. So it's like one of those ones that might somewhat show up somewhere in our world. I can't wait to I'll go see that one for sure. All right, Nikki, what's your last one?
All right, do we all do 3?
Yeah.
Did we get that in?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll give you a quick one and then an honorable
Do you feel
mention.
you didn't do 3?
No, I'm doing 3 now. I'm doing it right now.
Okay.
The Point. Maybe one of the single-handedly most influential. I mean, when I was a kid, and another movie that my dad kind of sat us down to watch, and we were kind of a captive audience, but featuring the music of Harry Nilsson, which was very informative for me, and a almost Dr. Katzian animation in the 70s. It was
Squiggle
watercolor.
vision?
It was sort of squiggly. You used watercolor. It was very artful. And like today, you watch it in the pacing. I mean, some kids I think would think that it's too slow. But the premise is genius. I think the rumor is that Harry Nilsson was on mushrooms, and wrote the music and came up with the idea for this.
Right.
I'm pretty sure Harry Nilsson was always on mushrooms.
That's fair. That's also fair. But did all the music, which is incredible. And the premise is in the land of the point, everything has a point, and not in the turn of phrase. The roofs are sharp. The dogs have cone heads. The people have cone heads. The wheels are triangles. And then one day, this boy is born, Oblio, without a point. He's pointless. So he's banned to the pointless forest. And there's not much of a plot outside of that, but it's just a vehicle for the animation to kind of take center stage and for the music to take you away. It's really worth watching. I mean, if you're a Nielsen fan in any capacity, it's a much watch. And it's funny, I've talked to the Nielsen fans before that somehow this wasn't in their purview. They know the albums, they know Son of Schmielsen, they know, like, they could talk to you about all his music, they could put the lime in the coconut, but they've never heard of The Point. Definitely worth watching. And one thing that I'll give you without talking you off, honorable mentions, a movie that just came out on Amazon Prime, and I think it's fun and it's worth a watch. It's not high art, but Onyx the Fortuitous and the Talisman of Souls,
Of course.
based on the viral character Andrew Bowser created, the Satanist guy. If you've ever seen that YouTube, he splices himself into news stories, local news stories, and that's how he kind of became famous. And then he parlayed that into a job with Nerdist, and then he kickstarted this 80s style kind of horror comedy, but he wanted to do it his way, and he wanted to do this movie with exactly kind of the topic of this episode, which is like what inspired him as a kid. And it was these practical puppets and Ghostbusters, and it was important to him that he was outsourcing a real creature shop that made physical puppets and things, all from Kickstarter, and all from a one-off character basically that he created. Fun fact, he also, it's inspiring. I put this in the list because it's inspiring in the sense that not only did he just do this all himself without any major backing, he got distribution, he did it exactly the way he wanted to do it. He was a huge fan of Self. See what he did?
I was like, Nick, full disclosure, who wrote all the music for him?
He like got a hold of Matt Mahaffey, and he even got Matt fucking Mahaffey to do the music. So like when you're watching a movie like that, Amanda and I saw it at a screening, and like you couldn't help but be inspired by this guy who did this niche character. He wrote and directed this. He had real awesome looking creatures and puppets. And it's pretty funny. It's a fun watch, but it's on Amazon.
And also one of the things that it's
Matt, you're in the perfect frame of mind to watch this movie tonight if you got it in you. I'm just saying.
I'm not going to watch tonight, but
Okay,
no. What's funny though
is 3 beers
that,
in.
I'm about there.
Okay.
No, what's funny is that there's an actor in the movie you just described that I went on a major rabbit hole on this week because I did not know they were as old as they are, and that is Dustin Hoffman. And without looking it up, gentlemen, how old is Dustin Hoffman?
Wait, Dustin Hoffman? When
he is in your movie, Nick.
What movie?
The Point.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. Well,
so how old, gentlemen, is Dustin Hoffman?
82.
I say 82. It's 81. 81, I'll say.
You're way under. 87.
Wow.
Dustin
Damn,
Hoffman is pushing 90.
Holy
and I'll be
shit.
honest, I don't know why that broke me for a good 2 hours this week. Like I'm very fragile at this point in time, but when I hear things like 87,
That's wild.
my brain just kind of breaks for a moment and I'm like, "Oh my god, yeah." And then you're like, "What's the last thing you remember seeing Dustin Hoffman in?" And you're like, I haven't seen him in a few years. And you're like, that's because he's 87.
That's wild.
It reads out there, but
and fun fact, he's not in every version of The Point. The Point famously had three different narrators. Three different narrators who pulled double duty and also played the father. It sort of opens up like Princess Bride. The father telling the story to another son. And it was Dustin Hoffman, You ready? It was Ringo Starr.
Oh, yeah?
Harry was very good friends with the Beatles. And the third narrator, which is the most rare version, I've still yet to find it. Alan Thicke was the third.
Wow.
Yeah, there are 3 different
Famous
versions of the
Canadian
point.
Alan
Thicke.
Thicke, who famously wrote that song with that naked girl in it that ripped off Marvin Gaye. Yeah.
Yeah, and Miley Cyrus grinded up on him on the VMAs.
Sure. Alan Thicke, famous. All right, so I'll quickly go through my last one. I'm also the least prepared to talk about this one. I just remember watching it very faithfully as a
We'll go
child.
quick.
So this director also directed Without a Clue, which is one of my favorite 80s comedies. It's basically about how it was not Sherlock Holmes. It was the genius of the Sherlock Holmes duo. It was Watson, who was actually doing it as Michael Caine and Ben Kingsley that did Without a Clue. And then he directed one of my favorite TV series of all time, Parker Lewis Can't Lose. Which is with the fucking synchronized swatches and the snaps. Loved it. He directed episodes of that. He directed Captain Ron, a seminal 1992 comedy starring Kurt Russell and Martin Short. That's phenomenal. And then after that, did not direct anything of note. like literally the things I can't even. One of them was called I Was a Teenage Faust. One of them was called Rats with a Z. One of them was Naked Fear. Not a thing. Peaks with Captain Ron. Captain Ron is where he directed a movie and he just goes, I've done all I can do and I will do no more. That's it. He also
and that
directed,
man is Thom Eberhardt.
God damn it, Nick! Stop looking these things up. You're killing me. These are huge reveals I've been working on. God damn
Thom
it!
is Eberhardt.
Yes, Thom Eberhardt.
Well, I think it's Tom. It's with an H. With an H.
Directed
I think it's
Night
Tom.
of the Comet, which is one of the earliest kind of high concept, funny horror movies I watched as a child. And the whole idea is it takes place in this shopping mall with this guy and the girl. And I will tell you the 100% the reason I talk about this movie to this day, and I remember it, is the last shot of the movie is they're out like this girl and this guy have like had this romance and they've like kind of fought off these people and they walk outside the shopping mall and he's got this super fancy sports car and he's like saying goodbye to her or like they're gonna like go off together. And they're about to cross the street, and she goes, "Stop! The light's not green." And he's like, "The world has ended. Like, we don't have to worry about this." And she's like, "The light's not green. We have to wait for the walk sign." And then this car goes speeding by as he's about to go across, and he's like, "Oh shit! Yeah, I guess maybe we should watch out for this." That's the entire reason I remember this movie. It was this dumb gag at the end of not a dumb gag. It's one of those funny things when you're watching like an apocalyptic movie where they've given up on society's norms and one person is fighting for the norms and one is fighting against it. And then something happens that is like a remnant of the old world, which is you can't cross the street because a car might come by. But she's like, cars have not come through this intersection in years at this point. Like, not why would you worry about it? And then a car comes through. But Night of the Comet is one of those movies. It also was like part of like a bit of a, I don't even want to call it like a trilogy, but there were a lot of movies I watched during that time, like the end of Gremlins. It takes place in a shopping mall. And like there are movies that took place in shopping malls in the
Dawn
80s.
of the Dead.
There these ones where I really associated like this idea of this is where we go. Like the shopping mall is the one place we all go to at that point in our lives. Like that was where you socialized. You went out to the shopping mall, and making that a place of like fear or refuge was super interesting to me. So I picked Night of the Comet as my third movie, and I think I have not mentioned any of those movies in the podcast before.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I'm going to watch
can we,
that one.
can we talk about Big again next week, or
we can try? But okay. I really have exhausted myself.
Well, next episode, I think we jump into D23, Fantastic Four, Daredevil, Born Again.
I would love to talk about. Well, so we have a couple of things. I would love to do another
I mean,
MCU.
none of this shit's happening for a while, so we have some
Yeah,
time.
we have time. I'd love to do an MCU. I also, John Reinsvold recommended a podcast that's, I've been trying to get this episode for a long time, which is SNL. And with Saturday Night coming out soon, that might be a great
and
topic
that
for
trailer
us.
looks fucking dope.
Oh my God. I can only get so wet. That trailer is like one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my entire. I've watched it so many times. It's
Sorry, I
ridiculous.
tripped over my penis.
I have watched that trailer more than any Marvel movie. I watched it on a loop. I'm so excited for it.
You're getting moist just thinking about watching the trailer.
I am. In fact, I can't wait to get off this podcast so I can go jerk one off to watching that trailer again tonight,
It's
like I do every night.
directed by Nick's favorite director,
Jason Reitman.
And it's written by Gil Keenan.
I think that he is the perfect choice for that movie.
All right.
But
I don't want to hear anymore. I don't want to hear anymore. I don't want
him to do another Ghostbusters movie. I think he'll be great for this. I think it's gonna be good.
Yeah. And written by Gil Keenan, who directed the second Ghostbusters movie.
And
Monster House. Jinx, you owe me a Coke. You can't talk for the rest of the episode. Everyone, with that, thank you for tuning in.
Yeah.
We'll be back semi-regularly. This was the New Way Podcast. And not you, Matt. Cheers. Ben, what
Wait,
the fuck
are you allowed to do that?
I'm doing the outro. I just jinxed him.
No,
He can't talk.
I'm not sure you're allowed to do the outro without
Just
that.
say you have to say his name. He can't talk again.
Oh, wait.
You got to say his name or he can't talk again. That's the rules. But Jinx, he owes me a Coke. Say his name.
On behalf of Matt, Nick, and Ben, this has been the New Way Podcast.
Yeah, there you go.
Have a good night.
All right, cheers. Cheers. Cut it.